Okay. Alrighty. Just getting everything set up. I don't know where Yogi Bell is. Okay. So I'll just give this a moment. Oops. Sorry, Instagram. Almost dropped you. Okay. So we'll just give this a couple minutes for people to get on. And in the meantime, let's come down and into the floor, and we're just going to find a nice comfy seated position. Welcome to Community Yoga Narada. I'm Michele, and I've been teaching this for a long time. This is just a 45-minute breath release, body release, tension release class. It's just a free community class. This is not a full serious yoga class. This has a lot of elements of Qigong and a little bit more fluid motion. There's a whole 2-hour class. If you're ever interested in that, let me know. So we're just going to come down and find a nice place on the floor with that feeling of width in the hips and the sits bones, the pelvis. If you feel like to achieve this, you have to be up a little bit, you can give yourself a little bit of a raised cushion or fold a mat and just even an inch or two lifting your hips off the floor to let the slope of your legs come through a little bit. It might help if you have tension in your hips or your back, right? So if you're not able to have an easy posture, you want to give yourself that space. So I have crossed feet here. You can take a nice little diamond shape. You can bring your feet out. Whatever feels good for you to rest and find your sitting bones. We're going to just relax the arms. We want to feel a plumb line through the low back. So feel from your lower back, feel like you have a big, long, heavy tail. This is the dinosaur tail, just gently drawing down through the floor. Feeling that sense of the tail stacking through your spine all the way through the head, right? So we're relaxing through the jaw and the chin, letting the shoulders relax nice and wide. Feel the shoulder blades in your back plumb lining down through the sitting bones there, right? So the legs are nice or they're able to relax here. We want that release to come through. And we're just going to let the breath drop down through that line into the base of the spine, into the base of the pelvis, gently closing your eyes and just taking a moment to release the breath all the way down into the base of the spine and pelvis, starting to notice your breath and observe your breath, letting any external thoughts or tensions just sort of slip away and bring your focus inward to yourself. We're going to gently open the eyes, take the palms together, and start to draw the breath up into your hands, gently gliding forward and back. So we want to feel that lightness through the surface of the hands. Feel that there's a connection from the breath deep inside your pelvis coming up into your palms. Getting a nice little sense of energy, heat, friction. We're going to separate the hands and just notice that nice little energetic buzz in between your palms. Feel the breath expand out through the palms, opening wide. So there's a movement, a connection from the inside of your body. You're going to move in whatever direction feels right to you. Wherever, this is just sort of a free form, sort of yawning. We're moving from the inside. You want to feel, and I like to think of the back of the body here. Feel that the breath through the back gently moves you and expands you all around, feeling that you're breathing into the space around you, all the way through the back, through the sides, up above and down below. And you're just, if you feel more comfortable, you can kind of swirl that around and just feel a light sense of moving through the joints and breathing things open. Also acknowledging all of the space you have to expand into, which gives you a sense of support. We're going to reach out, gathering energy through the palms from the space around you, taking that through the palms and just holding it over your eyes, over your face. So you're hovering and breathing into this. And then just washing that energy over your eyes, around your face. Exhale. Feel that sense of release and softness flush through the face from the center out. And then we're going to take our middle fingers and go into the brow bone. We're going to exhale and massage, carving from the inside to the outside with a little bit of a lift up towards your hairline. So we're going to take a nice exhale and carve the space open above the eyes and up. And then we'll take our index finger and just folding a little, we're going to go underneath the eyes. We're going along the bone. So you're flushing and breathing and opening that space underneath. And again, follow the line up into the hairline a little bit. So we're breathing, feeling that softness through the face come through, not adding any extra tension, but letting go into it. And then we'll take our fingertips into the forehead. We're just going to take a nice little scrubbing up and down, breathing through this and just moving the surface of the skin. And then coming around to the outside of the eyes, the temples, again, very, very light, gently moving over the surface of the skin, not pressing in, not palpating here. And then we're going to continue relaxing the jaw and going in between the upper and lower jaw. Now we can poke a little bit more. So we're breathing and sort of poking into that. You can move around and find where it feels good to just massage and let go between the upper and lower jaw, maybe a little bit back towards your ears, breathing into that. And then we're going to come up above the ears into the scalp, like you're washing your hair. We just want to take this little scrubbing, lifting motion, getting a nice massage into the head, releasing any pressure around the ears. Let's go around towards the back. We're lifting and going around the perimeter of our ears, following this a little bit further back and up. And then eventually going from the back and feeling that lift sense up from the very base of the skull, right? Letting some of that space come through where we feel congested a lot. If you take your hands back and find that nice little crease, if you move your head a little bit here, where the top of the spine and the head meet, the occipital zone, we're just going to now take a nice side-to-side lateral massage. Feel that you're breathing into your hands through the part of your body that's touching your hands. This is sort of on everything. We want to feel a sense of connection and expansion while we're releasing through the palms. We're going to go a little bit wider out towards the ears, finding that nice little release and length and opening. And then we'll come back in close to the spine. And now we're going to take a nice circular massage. So we're breathing into that circular massage, going from the top of the neck and working our way down the back of the neck, relaxing into those muscles, coming all the way down into the tops of the shoulders. Now we're going to kind of dig our fingertips over top of the shoulders and just sweep over top. Exhale, massage, and release and sweep off any tension and tightness, shaking it out of your hands. And then going back again, finding the breath and releasing. We're just sweeping through and letting go, shaking it off. And again, fingertips go back and exhale to release and shaking it off. And now from here, we're going to interlace the fingers, find the breath from the base of the spine, internally lifting you up. We're breathing from the pelvis through the midline up to stretch through the arms. And we're just going to wiggle up out of that getting a little bit more length and release, feeling that you're unsticking your hips from and around your pelvis, releasing your spine from your pelvis a little bit, even though they're connected. We're going to come back, or that's debatable, right? We're going to come back through center, find that nice little softening through the tail, and just drape your arms down, relaxing the shoulders. We're going to take this nice little sweeping motion. We want to move through the scapula, sweep around through the side, and feel that your breath gets through the side ribs. So in between the ribs, floating up, massaging really wide elbows here, hanging over, relaxing the tail to come forward, around, and down. We're going to inhale, find that nice little window to expand through the ribs, up, and exhale over and around and forward. Feeling the breath open through the side and up, finding that opening in the chest. Take a little pause up here, change your direction, exhale, and forward, around, and down. Inhale, find the other side, making your window, poking the elbow up, lifting up, and exhale over and around and forward. Inhale through the side ribs, breathing through this elbow up. One more time, exhale and forward and down, around. Inhale through the side ribs to come up. Now finding the breath through the midline from the base of the pelvis, we're going to lift up and stretch. Feel that lift right through the center of your body. Keeping that, we're going to separate the fingers and just circle through the wrist, breathing the palms and the fingers open as you open the arms and release down around the sides, and eventually feeling that your arms just hang open off the spine. And then just relax out of that. So now from here, we're going to take the feet out forward in front of us. Take your right foot out, flexing. The left knee can just hang open off to the side. We're still thinking of that midline, right? So we have some reference. We're giving our body a reference, a proprioception to balance. We're going to take the other hand behind, right palm up, and we just give a little breath, lift up, and a little push through that back palm over the tail to yawn open through the right side. Relax and change to the other side. So we're just kneading from one side to the other. We go up and then feel the breath open, hang your arm. Feel that your shoulder blade drops down and release and change. Finding the breath through the center, up and exhale, yawning, hanging this arm open. So you start to feel the opening from the center of your chest out through the arm, underneath the scapula, breathing into that opening under the shoulder girdle, and release and change. One more time on each side. Breath comes in, feel the lift through the midline, and release, open, and change. And breath comes in to lift you up, to go over and release. Now we're going to take the arms up, so you can separate your feet a little. We're going to circle through the wrists and the ankles, breathing and circling. We're going to just make our way down with the hands, and we're just going to hang over the legs. Now, let your hands drop first. Use the weight of your head. You don't want to feel like you're pulling. Feel that there's a circular release with the spine. So there's a fluidness to the letting go and hanging over. So you're just going to breathe into this release through the head. If you can, take a little exhale through the nose and just drop the head a little bit, coordinating with your exhale. So we want the breath to help release and open up any little extra crevices through the neck into the vertebrae. And if you have to breathe out through your mouth, of course you can do that. So the breath out through the nose just gets a little bit deeper into the nerves. And we're just going to hang and exhale.
And now we're going to sway the head. We're going to sway from side to side, just breathing normally and feeling that nice little releasing heaviness through the bones here. So we're shifting and breathing, releasing from one side to the other. You're going to start to feel that your hips shift a little bit more and you're sort of peeling off and dropping down. Think of your sitting bones. You should feel them a little bit more prominently here. Feel like they're little feet, heavy elephant feet, dropping down and shifting and dropping down and shifting. And then we're going to use the hips to lift up and walk backwards on the floor. So you're using the breath through the low belly to move through the hips. We're going to shift up and around. You're dragging your leg along the floor. We're shifting in the hips and breathing into the sacrum through the back. Feeling that we're shifting in the bones and releasing and moving there a little bit. And then we're going to come forward, lifting up and dropping down. So you're pushing down to send the opposite hip over. So you're more realistically using your sitting bones like feet here, where you push down to go over and you push down to go over. Still nice and heavy through the bones. And then once you've done that a little bit, we're just going to relax and hang over, breathing out. Let that release come through the crown of your head. We're going to draw the tail down. Let the breath come in and up through the front of the spine as that heaviness goes down through the back of the tail. Imagine you have a little pencil under your chin as you get almost all the way up here. Heavy, heavy tail, and you'll feel that that just balances you into a nice long posture. And then we relax. We're going to smush into that a little bit. So now from here, we want a little bit of a scoop, a tiny little scoop through the low belly, a little support here. Use your hands into fists, and we're just going to drum into the sacrum using the breath. You can go right on top of your sacroiliac joint here. So you're going all around. It's kind of like a nice big butterfly shape. And you're just going right into that and go around the outsides of it into your glutes a little bit, especially the upper portion of your glutes. So this back of the hips is your glutes, right? Those are your posterior hip muscles. And then we're going to come up the sides of the spine. So you don't want to go right on your spine on this, just go up along the sides towards your ribs if you can, breathing into that towards the kidneys and back down again. We're going to use our fists and just gently bounce off of the back sides of your hips, right? So we're still on the hip sockets, and these are kind of where the greater trochanters are, where we have that nice big insertion point into the side part of our hips. And then we're going to alternate. So we're going to flush from one side to the other. So when we come more from the back of the hip and you letting that breath release, we're sending any tension or tightness down and out through the feet. So we're following the circulation line here. And then we're going to gently open the palms, and we kind of looseness in our hands. We use the heels of the hands to kind of fluff up along the sides of the legs. So letting your breath release. So as you let your body release, you're going to feel that your breath lets go a little bit more easily, right? So we want one to coordinate with the other. We want to feel that that's working for us, that our breath helps release our body, and oppositely, our body affecting our body helps release our breath. So we're just making sure all the systems are in line here. We're going to work, there's a scooping quality. We're working down the sides of the legs along the IT band lines, and we want the muscles to really shake around and release off the bones here. Then we're going to come down. We're right up above the knees. We're going to go into that nice little padding fist again. Not right on top of the knees at first. Go over the tops of the knees where the quadriceps insert the attachment zones there. And then we will pat right onto the joint, breathing into that all around to feel that. And then we'll take our fingertips
and just take nice little drops down into the patella, the kneecap here, and we're just feeling a nice vibration through the bones. So we want that vibration to travel into the joints and bring some synovial fluid in there, which can and does happen, right? We're going to tap down the shin bones all the way down to our ankles. Tap, tap, tapping, feeling that waking up through the lower legs here into the feet. We're going to tap back up the shins again. And then from here, use the heels of your hands, gently leaning back. We're going to take a nice deep massage through the tops of the legs from your hips all the way down to the knees. And you can use a good amount of pressure here. And we're just flowing down from the hips down to the knees, releasing and breathing into that, going a little bit on the inside or outside. And if you lean back a little bit more, you can feel your hip flexors, that crease in your hips. If you lean back a little, they engage a little bit, right? Because they engage when we extend. We're going to just drop into our hips, hip flexors, little bounce there. That just helps release them or give them a little more elasticity. And then flush down the quads again, releasing, massaging into your femur bones. Now we're going to have that loose, fluffy hand again. We're going down along the outsides of the shins, along the peroneals, and just breathing into this, bouncing off and releasing and letting go, and just sort of letting this come through, because these guys do a lot of stability without much else, right? So they're workhorses down here. And then from here, we're going to gently bring the knees back in. So your feet are coming in, your knees are hanging off to the sides, whatever's comfortable. Use the tops of your hands and flush downward on the inner thighs. So this is the adduction line, and we want to feel a release from the hip sockets down towards the floor. Any tension or tightness holding here, letting it go. Go down along the thigh bones, the inner thighs towards your knees, taking that downward flush motion. And then we're going to gently flex through the heels. We feel a slight engagement through the calves. Taking a fist, exhale, dropping into your calves. So we feel a nice little kind of drop and release, kind of a lateral shake off of our calves here. If you're feeling really tender, you can just go lighter with a little bit more repetition, breathing into that, still feeling that feels really nice, still even, right? So it doesn't have to be a lot of force. And then we're going to focus on the lower part of the calves into the Achilles area, where the soleus fuses into our Achilles there. And then we're going to take our hands back behind, legs go out. We're just going to take a nice little shake out on the floor, releasing through the backs of the knees, a little wiggle in your tail to release through the hips and the shoulders. We're going to take the right knee up, inhale. Start the exhale, a little gathering through the low belly. Then let the leg lengthen. Breath comes in. Think of the midline. Think of that center line through the body, even as you release. Up. We want a little bit of an engagement in our center before we let go, because when we're letting go, it's a little bit more force here with gravity. But we don't want to pull. We want to feel that we're releasing from some kind of supported place in the center. And one more time on each side. And again. Now from here, relax the legs and just let the feet hang open. And we're just going to take these light little taps through the insides of the toes. We're feeling that turning in the hip sockets here. Think of this as a nice little massage in the hips, but also you're waking up at the very, very tips of the toes, the very distal points of our body there. And then we're going to just relax, bring the feet in, and we're going to just sort of roll around, focusing on the feet. We're going to circle through the ankles, breathing into the ankles, breathing into the feet, and just kind of mushing around there. relaxing your feet on the floor. We're going to take a nice massage under your ankle bone into that inside heel. So that nice little crevice where we feel the heel moves through. So there's that nice little release. There's lots of connective tissue that we really want to kind of free up and massage into to let it function easily. And then we're going to go down on the inside of the arches of the feet. This is the adduction line of the foot. And we want to feel that this is nice and awake and starting to lift up on the inside of our ankles when we stand up instead of rolling in and down. We're going to massage underneath the soles of the feet. So go from your heels, mushing around and relaxing the feet and just sort of feeling out what you need, letting that release come through. Try to relax. I mean, the muscles in the feet are really strong, and you want to let go and let that release happen so that there's a little bit more give and elasticity there. We're going to come underneath the balls of the feet and just kind of lengthen out, massaging under the toes. So where the toes stem from your foot, you want to just give a nice little breath and release and space there. And then we'll take our hands underneath the balls of the feet. We're going to separate, hold space in between your toes. Breathe into that space with relaxing your feet. So your feet are letting go and just absorbing this little bit of an opening and stretch. Relaxing out of that, we're going to take the hands back behind us on the floor, bending both knees. So we have a nice little scoop under, gather through the sits bones, scooping the tail under. We're breathing through the midline. We're going to exhale, connect from the pelvis all the way down through the toes, walking through the feet. The toes reach out and pull your heel forward like a nice little inchworm. We're going to exhale. So we feel a nice connection from the center going down and out towards the ends of our toes. So we're expanding into the floor and walking into the floor, feeling that sense of opening and reaching out through the toes. When you get too far away, we're going to lift the toes up, curl the toes over, a nice even dome here. Draw the heels back, relaxing the toes, letting them just drag along the floor, up and over. And we relax. Try not to poke. Just let your toes elongate and drag, especially on this reverse direction. So the arches, melt your arches into the floor so the toes don't have to peel up. You don't have to push the ball of your foot down in contrast. Just let it go. Now we're going to go forward again. Exhale, gather, go from the pelvis through the toes and walk. And again, feeling the breath from your center all the way through the toes. And again, breath goes out. So you're very aware and very trying to work on that balance and control. And we're going to just relax and shake the legs out. We're going to bring the feet back into wherever your comfortable place is. So for me, it's here, finding your sits bones again, lifting up tall, and just taking a nice massage, breathing into the sides of the ribs. So we're letting the breath come in, feeling that nice flush and circle massage, going into the sides and feeling, especially on your inhalation, that sense of expansion like a balloon. Go all throughout the abdomen, flushing through here, just waking up these peripheral nerves, and then coming down right into the front of the hips, a nice little flush here, massaging, releasing into this lymph here. And then we'll come up into the center of the chest. So where the sternum is, we're just going to, right on the bones, we're just going to scrub up and down and let go of the breath. Release any tension held in here. And you'll feel that your shoulders let go a little bit. And then we're going to take nice long sweeps through the center from your ribs all the way down into your pelvis, just sweeping down and breathing into that. And then we're going to go underneath the sides of the ribs, feeling that release and opening there. And then going around underneath the other side ribs, releasing into that. And then we're going to come back through center and just relax through the shoulders here. Relax your head over and take your opposite hand. We're just going to massage into the front of the shoulder. And again, lots of lymph here. You can mush things around a bit. You want to get a nice release and just explore. Feel where your body has some tension closer to your collarbone, your clavicle here. You'll probably feel a little bit more, so that might be a good spot to check out. You can gently move through the head. You don't have to hold your body. Sometimes holding your body while you're trying to release like this causes more tension. So let yourself move a little. You can just breathe and move a little. And then relax. Let your head drop to the other side. Focus on the shoulder you're massaging. Breathing and releasing, feeling that it's nice and wide and long. So that focus on the shoulder helps let go of the head. We're not trying to pull the head over, which can cause more tension into the shoulder. We're just kind of breathing into that and not trying to hold, letting things shift and move and adjust and release. And then from here, we're going to take the opposite palm. We just take a nice exhale. Drop up and over. So you're patting yourself on your back, over your top shoulders. You might not reach over the back, but that's okay. You're just letting the breath, again, that kind of floppy, released hand, feeling that you're letting some breath get into your upper back ribs, feeling that there's some breath into the lungs, all the way back up there. And then relaxing through center. Let the tail soften under. We're going to inhale from the base of the spine through each little vertebrae. Take a deep breath in, float the arms up. So your breath lifts you up from inside, suspends the arms up. Keep that suspension as you let the arms go. Exhale. So we feel this contrast of the spine continuing up with the arms releasing down and out. Let's find that again, softening through the tail. Feel that internal breath through each little vertebrae floats you up. You're getting space in between each set of vertebrae, up and up and up. And letting the arms go. One more time, softening the tail. Feel that your tail goes down to help you find the breath in and up. Feeling that lift out of your hips and let it go. Now we're just going to shake it all out through the shoulders, the elbows, the wrist, feeling that breath release from the upper back all the way down into the hands. You can let your head move here. Again, we want that nice kind of shaking off the bone, muscle shaking off the bone quality. And once you feel that fuzziness come all the way down into your hands, we're going to release and interlace the fingers and just take a nice little sort of compression release. We're breathing into the palms. Let that nice little shifting, a little sort of shearing forward and back. Try to feel your shoulders relax and maybe draw down a little bit. And then softening through the wrist, we're going to breathe and just roll around. So we're using the breath to help let go with the momentum and just kind of roll through and release. And then we're going to reverse this. So we're coming back the other way, the direction our brain did not choose first, and just sort of balancing out in the nervous system here. And then we're just going to peel the palms apart. Breathe the center of the palm open. Feel the fingers come into the center of the palm. So think of your palm expanding. Palm contracts the fingers. So try not to think of the fingers as much as the palm. So sometimes your fingers can kind of pull into your hand. And if you have a lot of arthritis in your hands, it might be too much too fast, but you want to gently Ease this open with repetition and breath connection. Like you're getting some nice fluid into the little tiny, tiny joints there. Now, we're going to take this further from the base of the spine and the pelvis. We're going to use this compression release with the breath. This is the dantian. This is what we call it in this class. Through its, the Taoist terminology. We're going to let the breath come in, expand up. We're going to take a nice long squeezing exhale. We exhale, start here, and keep breathing out, breathing out. We squeeze the breath out through the fingertips, the toes, the eyes. Keep breathing out. You're compressing and breathing out and releasing anything negative, physical, emotional. Keep using that exhale breath until you don't have any more breath left in there. As the breath comes in, float the body open and expand. And again, we're going to exhale. So we're compressing through the breath, through the nerve lines, and squeezing out anything we don't need anymore in the body. We're going to just help it release out through the breath, making space for new. Letting the breath expand you. We're going to take this one more time. Exhale. Letting the breath come in. On this last one, we're going to exhale, but this time we're gathering that light new energy through the fingertips and toes and drawing that into our center through the nerve lines, enveloping that new energy. Letting the breath come in, and we're just going to release anything that was kind of holding on. So now from here, we're going to interlace the fingers and take your hands behind your head. We want to feel that your head rests into your palms. So imagine you're against a wall, standing against a wall, sitting against a wall. Let your elbows move around to where you feel your shoulder blades can drop down. So they might move forward a little bit. We want to feel that the jaw and chin relax into the back of the palms. You're going to breathe through the back of the head and neck into your hands. Also, find that nice long plumb line through your tail, down through the floor as you're breathing into your palms. We want to use that plumb line breath and just sweep the palms all the way up, feeling that release through the crown of the head, around, and just let the hands come down, relaxing over the legs here. Using that energy. Now we're using the eyes to scan the room. We're going to just look and see every little detail around us as we use the eyes to turn the head with a nice awareness of the breath through the spine as we glance over to the side. Finding a new breath, we're going to use the eyes to scan the room over to the other side. Feel like you're suspended through the crown of the head as you're looking. And your vision is nice and soft and gentle, very organic feeling. You're literally just looking. It's not any different than what you normally do. You're just allowing it to come through with a little bit more focus right now, connection into your body, into your spine. And now when we use the breath, we're going to turn again and feel that your vision expands out beyond the space you're in, out over a long distance through the walls, feeling that openness is from far away but feeding back into your center. And again, feeling the breath scan you around, feeling a sense of connection all the way out. One more time. And finding that connection through the spine, out through the eyes. And we're going to let the breath bring the eyes back through center, relaxing the shoulders. Take a deep breath, drawing in and up from the dantian. Inhale, we're going to squeeze the eyes shut and kind of hold the breath. Pulling it up and up and up and up. And then we just gently exhale, release the eyes open. Relaxing them open, you can let them blink a little. Energetic cobwebs around the eyes here. And then we'll take nice little taps through the fingertips, taking a nice little vibration into the skull, going all around here. And just kind of feeling that waking up. And then a nice little sweeping through the back of the head and neck. Feeling the length through the back of the neck and head. And now, if you feel comfortable, you can go slow. I'll start slow and go faster. We're going to feel that upward energy through the spine, and we're going to look side and side. You want to relax the jaw and feel like you're turning, just rotating through the top of the spine, using your eyes. Try not to let your chin pull you. Go into your spine. And if you feel comfortable, you can use momentum by letting the breath go and just feeling that let go side to side. You're spotting. Let the jaw go. And when you slow down progressively. Don't stop all of a sudden. And just let that relax. We're going to take our fingertips into the suture sagittalis. So if you have a nice part, you're going to go right in the front at the hairline and just press down, pull apart, release. And go back a little bit more, press down, pull apart, release. More towards the crown, pressing down, pull apart, and release. And just feeling that opening right through the crown of the head, right? So now everything is nice and alive and awake. We're going to come around onto our hands and knees. And we're thinking now of that breath through the midline again. You're nice and balanced over your hips, over your knees. And if your shoulders, just try and relax the scapula down a little bit. We're going to take the right foot back, tucking the toes under. Feeling that breath through the midline, we're going to just glide. Let your heel release and glide back. Breathe that space open behind the knee, through the front of the hip, and then come back in. So there's a sense of breath through the center of your body. You're connecting through the midline as you glide that leg back to open. We always want a contrast connection to a stretch and release. We're going to tuck the toes under and find the breath to release and glide back. So everyone has this. Some people actually have it more naturally than others. They might not even know it. But you can learn this. It's not just like either you have it or you don't. We all have it. So we all have our different talents, and we just want to find a balance between the patterns that are stronger and the patterns that are a little bit more quiet. So we want to just sort of touch everything and move through, finding that nice long tail energy as your heel glides back here. Now, if you feel comfortable, we're going to lift the heels, tuck the toes under. You can touch the inside of your heels together. Your toes can be a little bit apart. Come back close to your knees. You're going to just push back and hang your tail over your heels in this little kind of squatting position. We're going to let the arms drape over. The knees can separate a little. We're hanging over. If you feel okay to drop your tail, let your head drop down so your tail and your crown are dropped and released. And we're just going to bounce the tail over the heels.
Use your hands to just breathe and release your heels, expanding your feet into the floor. Take your hands really close to the toes. Take a deep breath. We're going to exhale and push, stretch the legs, and hang the body over the legs here. If you need to bend your knees a little bit, you can. And just kind of shake your legs out, finding that nice release. We're going to bend the right knee, hang over the right knee, but breathe into the opposite hip into your heel. Feel your tail go down into your heel. We're going to change. Bend the other knee. You're hanging over the bent knee and breathing your tail down through the straight leg heel. And change. And just hang over. We're shifting in the hips and exhale. And change. And shift. Tail goes down through the heel. And then we're going to come back to center and just hang the body over the legs. If you feel okay, feel your tail plumb line over your heels. Heels are dropped. We're going to take hold of the elbows and feel that release through the upper back and neck, and just gently pull the elbows down towards the floor. As the breath comes in, we lift the upper abdomen, lifts to the ceiling. Let go of the arms. Feel that breath lifting through the upper abdomen to the ceiling, making space for the sacrum and the tail to drop down. So we're breathing into the spine, gently rolling up, feeling that internal lift, but also releasing down through the tail, through the floor, and all the way out. So it's that long dinosaur tail again. Feel that little pencil under your chin as you come up. Now from here, once you're all the way up and standing, feel the gravity through the tail end of the spine, the top of the sacrum, breathing down through the heels, and feel like that's really long. The distance is really long below, and then it flows out behind you. We're going to just roll through the shoulders, feeling that openness in the front of the hips. And then that softening, we're going to soften the knees, round the tail under, and just breathe through the spine. We have a nice little rippling inhale through and up, stretch the legs. And exhale, open the arms. And soften the knees, slide the tail down again. Letting the breath come in, there's that nice rippling. Find your heels to breathe through and up. And exhale, the chest opens the arms and slide down. One more time, rippling through, heels in and up. And exhale. Relaxing the arms out, around, and down. We're just going to come up through center, let the breath in, and just take a breath to release through the shoulders. Feel that nice long plumb line tail energy, and try to use that energy through the tail and just let yourself kind of walk a little bit, feeling that long tail behind you keeps you nice and open feeling through the front of the body and the hips here. And just, try to carry that energy with you today. Excellent. Okay. Thank you very much. Just a nice, simple, easy flow through today. Nothing too different or anything. Any questions or comments, let me know. Otherwise, we'll see you next week, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, Wednesdays. And thank you very much. Have a good week, everybody.